Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the main event. You're here with me, Daniel.
And Aaron.
Aaron, Group B up next. So this one was a little bit tasty as we've got a repeat of last year with Porto versus Atletico Madrid. If I'm not mistaken, is that right? That was last year, wasn't it?
We'll say yes.
Yeah, I think it was. So we've got a little bit of information from last year. I'm sure it was because I think Atletico Madrid won 3-1 and they drew 0-0. So we do have a little bit of something to go off about how it's going to go. But they were the two standout teams. Are you seeing anything since that's going to change your mind on that, do you think?
I mean, Leverkusen have the potential. It's just that they've been slow at getting started this year. The attacking players that they have very, very good. We'll talk about them in a bit. It's just that they've not really got going this year yet. But they I think they'll give these teams a good go if they do get going.
So we'll start with Porto because they are the first seeds. So just one thing to be made aware of, Grujic has an injury, unknown return date. So whenever I mention him, just please be aware that he is injured, and that's why he's been pulled out of the team. So good start for Porto. 5-1 win, 1-0 win, 3-0 win against Sporting Lisbon. And then it all came crashing down with a 3-1 defeat this weekend. And also, as you mentioned, Aaron, the 3-0 win against Sporting. Sporting with a better team. Bit of luck, red card. Costa is the goalkeeper. João Mario plays right back. He currently has 2 assists to his name this season. However, I don't know about you, but I've not been able to find him in the game. I've looked, he's got 5 or 6 names in real life. I've even looked for a photo, but I can't find him. Pepe and Marcano are the 2 centre backs. Marcano has 2 goals. Sanusi is the left back. So just to make things clear, they play a 4-1-2-1-2. Wrap your head around that. Uribe is the central defensive midfielder. He has 2 goals, one of them being a penalty. The centre mids have moved around. So as I mentioned, Grujic is injured, so he played the first 2 games, and Otavio came in for him in central midfield. Pepe has played 2 games in central midfield and then 2 games in central attacking midfield, as they had a slight change. And he has 1 assist to his name this season. Costa has played the other 2 games in central midfield. And the person who played the first 2 games in central attacking midfield was Namaso. So it's a bit of a mess in there. And I don't think we've ever really said ever get Porto central midfielders, except for, was it Oliveira who was their penalty taker? So we used to say get him. So maybe now it's Uribe, but maybe a bit rough. Strikers have been Evan Nielsen, all 4 games, and Taremi, all 4 games. Taremi's been on a downward slope. In the last 4 games, he's got a goal and assist. He missed a pen in the last game, but he had a bit of a shocker as well, just in general. Evan Nielsen has 2 goals. Martinez has came off the bench a couple of times for Evan Nielsen and has got a couple of goals. Galeno has also came off the bench, and he's got 2. What's he got? He's won a penalty, scored a penalty, and he's got a regular goal and an assist. So plenty for him, but he's just not starting. Atletico Madrid away, first fixture, isn't the nicest, but once you wildcard out of that in 2 or 3, Bruges at home, lovely. Bayer Leverkusen at home, lovely. And then you can reassess if you need to. But even Leverkusen away, I don't think they're going to fear them. Bruges away, I don't think they're going to fear them. Bizarrely enough, last time they played Atletico, they actually drew 0-0 away and got beat at home, which isn't normal for Porto. Normally they are better at home. The standout options for me, Costa at 5 million, because there aren't that many good 5 million goalkeepers. Certainly not very many good 4.5 millions. Sanusi, 4.5 million left back, nailed. Galeno is an out of position midfielder at 5.5, which not a huge fan. I think the major asset here though is Marcano. 4 starts, 2 goals, 4 million defender for a team that are historically very, very good at defending. Now, if there are any Porto fans or fans of the Portuguese league, if we made a mistake there, and this is because of an injury, a bit like how last season Simicast started a few games because Robertson was injured, and perhaps someone that wasn't familiar with the league wouldn't have known that. If that's the case, please let us know. But until someone tells us, I'm going to assume he's their starting centre back at 4 million. What do you make of Porto, Aaron?
I think you summed up great there, so well done.
Thanks, mate.
No, with Porto, I'm just having a look at the team kind of percentages and stuff like that. I think everyone's jumping on the wrong 4 million defender. So everyone's jumping onto Wilson Manafer, 6% owned, 4 million defender, because he is actually a right winger in real life. But I've just had a look through the kind of lineups, and he's not even been on the bench. So he's owned by 6%, and Marcano is owned by 1%. So I think people are jumping on the wrong 4 million defender. If you are looking to get one of them in, which they're probably really good shouts for the rest of the group stage after Atletico Madrid. At the minute, I've currently got the goalkeeper in, but that's just kind of like a placeholder. Just knowing that I've got that kind of price point in mind. I've got 5 million keepers, but I haven't decided on which ones are going to be yet. So, but other than that, I think the rest of kind of Ivan Nielsen was doing really well. If you need that third choice, and you're third choice striker, and you're choosing to go premium midfielders instead, he is an option. Just bearing in mind kind of the other teams in this group, I'd probably choose him over Taremi. But other than that, I think the defenders is probably where it's at because they did a really, really good job last year.
Yeah, I agree. And also, when we look at the other teams in the group, fair enough. Leverkusen, bit mixed, but Bruges aren't the team that we know and love anymore, unfortunately. So yeah, I quite fancy them for clean sheets. Go on to the other team that people will target for clean sheets as well. Atletico Madrid. Do you want to go through these?
Yep. So Atletico Madrid, a very up and down start of the league. They, of course, either have a good convincing win with a clean sheet, or completely lose their heads and get red cards.
Classic.
It's just one of them things. This past, or actually yesterday, they beat Valencia 1-0, so they were on the better side of Atletico Madrid. It's kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde thing, isn't it? It's like you don't know which one is going to come up, but they won 1-0 with percentage possession of 29.
Wowza.
Valencia having 71% possession. But despite having 29% possession, they still managed to get more shots in general and on target. They got 13 shots compared to Valencia's 12 and 7 shots on target to Valencia's 2. So basically what I gather from that, without watching the highlights, is that really, really good defensively, that they basically made them shoot from range or kind of take half chances. So if they're that organized, great. If not, red cards galore for everyone. And we all just laugh about it that we can't make subs.
That's what we want. That's what we want.
There's a couple of really good options here, but I think the worst, it's really unfortunate, but Witzel is obviously a great addition to the squad in football term, but he's still a midfielder in the game playing in defense. So that's the wrong kind of out of position, because you're not going to get the credit for the clean sheet as much as everyone else is. I think someone who we're all kind of looking towards for this year is Mandava or Mandava.
Yeah.
He, I mean, as always, kind of you do target the Atletico Madrid midfield defenders, but I think the worst things is that only Jimenez is kind of the one that we recognize. I think if we were like, oh, who would you choose out of everybody? you end up choosing like Savic and stuff like that. I think Mandava is actually called Rianildo on the game.
Ronaldo, I think, yeah, Ronaldo. Yeah.
So he's 23% owned, 4.5 million. He is playing as a centre back this year, even though last year he was a left back, but that is due to Saul getting played in that left wing back role, which is just, I think that was the key. That's why he didn't fit in at Chelsea. It was just they were playing him in midfield when actually he's a left wing back.
Yeah, I mean, what a mug. I Simeone's so frustrating. Witsel is so good as a holding midfielder. Ronaldo Mandava is so good as a left back, and Saul is a really good central midfielder. And yet he's just playing them all out of position. No wonder they're getting 29% possession in games, whatever it was. Stupid.
Yeah. I think
Uh,
the interesting thing is that All Black is cheaper this year because he's been the most expensive goalkeeper past few seasons. 5.5 this year, so he's a lot cheaper than probably a lot of the other goalkeepers, to be fair, because there's quite a lot of
yeah,
6 million goalkeepers. So the fact that All Black is in this group, a little bit cheaper, um, and a lot of us are going to target Atletico Madrid just due to it being cheap. So for that to really, really pay off in terms of rank, we probably need to double up. So All Black being a cheaper goalkeeper than the majority of the others who would potentially target, and then doubling that up with a defender for 4.5. Potentially, it's a good way to go. It is high risk, high reward though, because when they lose, the chances of red cards go up.
well, that's the thing. I think if you look at it, if you wanted one Porto and one Atletico defender, if you like, you'd say for the same money, would you rather have Ronaldo and Costa or Oblak and Marcano?
I can say that I've got Ronaldo and Costa at the minute in my draft.
Okay, well there you go.
So that answers that question.
I've got Ronaldo, Marcano, and Costa. Although my draft will be changing based on the fact that I'll be wild carding. But yeah, I think one of the good things about Oblak is he's probably not going to get sent off. Probably. I'm sorry if I've jinxed this. Certainly for violence, it'll be if he's the last man, he concedes a penalty, something like that. But I don't think he gets as many save points as Costa. Costa's a bit of a save machine, isn't he? So it is food for thought. My two shouts were the two wing Ronaldo 4.5 or Molina, who was the right wing back. He didn't play the last game because he got sent off in the game before that. Shock. And Llorente came in at right wing back. The John O'Shea of Atletico Madrid. The only other person of any interest for me, when you look at them, and I'm not going to get him, is Antoine Griezmann. Has got 2 goals in 3 games, but he can't start. He keeps on coming off the bench for one of the central midfielders. Morata's got 2 goals. João Felix has got 2 assists, and that's the lot for them. They're the 2 strikers. Just so people know the team, Oblak's goalkeeper, Saul and Carrasco rotated left wing back, Ronaldo Witsel played all games at centre back. Savic has played 2 games on the right side. Jimenez has came in for the most recent one. I think Jimenez is the starter over Savic. Like I said, Molina's the right wing back, but Llorente came in because of the red card. Koke has played every game in centre mid. Llorente did play the 2 games in centre mid before he was shipped off to right wing back. Lamar's played 2 games in centre mid, not really done much. Kondogbia's played 1, De Paul's played 1. Morata and João Felix have started every game up front. That's a 5-3-2 the play. Yeah. They don't really fill us with loads of confidence. I'd like to say, I think for the group, I think you'd be all right getting a defender in. I wouldn't double up, and I wouldn't go for anyone else, would you?
Like I think that kind of what I said, I think like we're all going to try and get at least one for the coverage, but because they have so many out of position players, um, when they play like well organized teams, that could break them down. And I think a few of these defenders are a little bit more expensive this year. So Savic is went up to 5. I've just seen. Um, but yeah, I think that the doubling up is kind of like they're not going to be the only team to get clean sheets, so it's not that, but it's more so that to get kind of the most benefits out of it. To be honest, though, when kind of having a look at their selected by, All Black 13%, but after that, the next highest owned defender is Lodi, who's obviously just been transferred, 2%. So there's actually not that many other than Reinildo, 23%. There's hardly anyone got Atletico Madrid defender, so I might have kind of overread the situation, kind of overanalyzed it. So maybe the one will do.
Yeah, definitely. If we move on to the third seeds in the group, Leverkusen, they've just announced the loan of Callum Hudson-Odoi. They've also brought in Bakker from PSG. Bellarabi is now out with a meniscus injury, just to make people aware, but they got off to a dreadful start the season, lost the first 3 games, 1-0, 2-1, 3-0. They did win 3-0 in their most recent game, though. Hradeki's their starting goalkeeper, got sent off in the first game. They've had a few red cards this lot. Atletico point to these versus Atletico, there's going to be some red cards. Lunev came in after that, but he's been back in for the next 2 games, Hradecki. Frimpong is the right back. So just to make people aware, they started with a 4-2-3-1 for the season. In the most recent game where they won 3-0, they changed to a 3-5-2. So it's going to be interesting to see if they stick to a 3-5-2. So Frimpong played right back in the 4 and right wing back in the 5. And when he played right wing back, he got 2 goals. Jonathan Tah's played all games at centre back, as has Tabsoba. I'm gonna ruin this name. I cannot say it, Aaron.
Just do it. Just close your eyes. Release the inner Aaron Graven.
Hincapi. I don't know. Hincapi.
Beautiful.
Sorry.
It was like you were speaking his native tongue.
He's almost poetry. He played centre back in the last game. He got sent off. Other than that, he's played 2 games at left back. Bakker's played 1 game at left back and 1 game at left wing back in the last game. Got sent off. Aranguiz has played holding midfield for a couple of games. Palacios has played a few games. Andrik's played a few games. Andrik, actually, yeah. So a little bit of rotation in there. Again, do you want Leverkusen centre mids? Absolutely not. Diaby, hotly touted to join certain Premier League clubs this year. He's actually not played that much. On the right, he's played 2 games out of the 4 on the right. He missed the first game. He actually played the last game up front and got an assist. But other than that, he's not done anything. Azmoun, central attacking midfield, he's played 2 out of 4. And Schick has played every game up front. Now, they've got Bruges away, which is why I think some people might want to target them. Then Atletico at home, then Porto away. Looking at them, I think some people may want defenders because Frimpong's 4.5. They're going to play 3 at the back with him as a wing back. And for 4.5, I think that's definitely something to keep an eye out on for Bruges away, 100%. Especially when Tar's the same price at centre backs, not really going to do much. In Hradeki's 4.5, I think people will probably just get him in because of his heroics. Was it in the Euros? He saved the penalty. Aranguiz and Palacios are 5.5 million each. Maybe get some ball recoveries. Palacios has a goal. Aranguiz has a goal. It's kind of in their lockers to get it. I don't fancy much from this lot. No one has done anything to make me say pick you against average teams. The first 1-0 defeat was against Dortmund. Have you done anything are you looked into anything to say, yeah, I'm going to get any players, Aaron?
No, they've just not started well at all. I was trying to look for, obviously I do like a kind of just a picture from the week whenever I highlight them. and literally there was none. So I literally just had to put a crying face emoji on the last time that I did, just because they're just not gelling. I think transfer rumors is really ruining the team. Um, the I think with obviously with this team with that transfer of, even though it's not permanent, with Callum Hudson-Odoi, he's 6 million on the game, and I think he's going to play. He's obviously not been transferred yet on the game, because why would they do things like that on this game? It does. They've got all the time in the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, 6 million. I think he is going to start and he is going to play straight away. So against Bruges, 6 million right winger. We know what Callum Hudson-Odoi can do. Potential.
And on to my old favourites, the old dark horses. A very, very different team this year. Not helped by a Ritz, who's their holding midfielder, ACL injury. Lang's got an ankle injury at the minute. Aaron, do you want to talk us through the dying legends that are Club Brugge?
Obviously, a lot of transfers out this year. They're currently third in the table, which isn't great at all, compared to their usual standards. They won on the weekend, but I think with these, it's kind of like there's always been like some like De Ketelaere or just Vanakin Skywalker who can choose like cheap priced players, and this year there's just no one that really stands out, unfortunately. I mean,
I've
there's a
got,
really,
I've got
really
a couple. I've
there's a
got a couple.
you
I
might
found
be
a
talking about the same
couple.
players.
Maybe.
Um, is yours a 5.5 million forward by any chance?
Yes.
I'll let you take it.
Well, quickly to talk just about the last four games. It's been okay. They've drawn 1-1, won 3-0. Sorry, no, actually, no, it hasn't been okay. Drawn 1-1. Yeah, the won 3-0. That's right. I'm
Yes.
getting all kinds of confused. Yes. Then won 2-1 and then won 3-1. I've written it the other way around. Fool. It's because they were away from home. The player 3-5-2, that's standard. Mignolet is the goalkeeper. Skov Olsen is the right wing back, with Mata, Michel, and Sila is the centre backs. Otasawi has played one of those games. Mea is the left wing back. Vanek and Skywalker, Odoi and Nielsen are the centre mids. Soa and Jurkla are the forwards. So nice and easy to trick their team, at least. Skov Olsen looks quality. He's got a goal and 2 assists in the last 4 games from right wing back, but he's a 6.5 million midfielder, which is infuriating. Because obviously when I was doing this, I was thinking, he's a defender playing for Bruges. He's probably going to be cheap. But they've put him in as a midfielder. That's a shame. So kind of just totally prices him out. One option I've noticed is Michel playing every game, centre back, 4 million. So there's another 4 million. And I'd rather go for this one than maybe some of the other 4 millions we've talked about, purely because of the teams they're playing against. Atletico Madrid have got no interest in attacking at the minute. Leverkusen struggling at Bordeaux, unless they're going to play that 3-5-2. And Porto, again, not that attacking. So it could be okay. Still, I think there are 2 better £4 million defenders in the game, in Marcano at Porto and in a left wing back for Marseille. But if you wanted to go that way, you could. But the striker we're talking about, Jurkla, has 4 goals in his last 3 games and is a 5.5 million forward. At home to Leverkusen in the first game. That sounds a bit punty and a bit tasty, Aaron.
Bruges do this to us. The Ketelaere was that.
He abandoned his first game as a midfielder for 4.5 million. Yeah, that was all right. Vanaken's the 3 players from Bruges that we've ever picked, Vormer, Vanaken, and De Ketelaere, have all done all right. They've all got goals or assists. They've all scored points. And if you think, right, so we've got to think for the first, this is a total 1 week punt at home to Leverkusen. I don't want anything to do with them after this.
Yeah.
But what we could do is have him as a 5.5 million forward, and then you can have another premium in midfield. When you look at those opening fixtures, maybe you want a more premium midfielder, because Jutgla at 5.5 as a forward is going to be better than any 5.5 million midfielders. Whereas some 10 million forwards could probably be matched by 10 million midfielders, like Vinicius Jr.
You could get Sterling or Vinicius, yeah.
Or Kevin De Bruyne, Salah, Mane. So you could have one of these in who kind of play up front anyway and go for him.
And more points per goal.
It's home to Leverkusen, Aaron.
This is just the next generation of Bruges legends that will make it on this podcast.
I can't wait. Get me a Bruges top now. Yeah, I mean, they've not had a great start. Like you said, they are third in the league, in the Belgian Pro League, whatever it's called. So that's not great. And like, I wouldn't go anywhere near Vanaken. 1 assist in his last 4 games, and I think he's pining for a move as well. I think he wants to leave, and that could really disrupt the team. And Jutgla's potential, if he does go, maybe once the transfer window shut, if he's still there, maybe he switches his head on. So that's something to monitor. We still need to look at Bruges. But yeah, I think for a 1 week punt to then wildcard out, Jutgla could come in, and I will have an extra premium, like that premium forward spot. I'll just put straight for a massive player in midfield. And on that bombshell, Aaron, thanks everyone for listening. We are the main event. You can find us on Twitter at UCL Fantasy Pod. You can also listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, anywhere that you normally listen to your podcasts. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you for the next group preview. Bye now.